How are we doing? Welcome to today's coding lesson. So today we're going to do a really cool game. It's a skiing game where we have to avoid obstacles. I remember when I was younger, there was this skiing game on my grandmother's laptop, and it was deadly. You had to avoid rocks and trees and things like that. So it's kind of a similar game to that. So it's a bit of a throwback for me, and just an insight to what I actually played when I was younger. Um, so to start off, you're just going to log into your account. So make sure that your name appears in the top right corner here, and We're going to go into another URL bar. Okay, so we're going to go into rpf.io / skiing on, and then we should be taken to the next page. It loads up, and we have our little weird looking cat. It's kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog before he was redone. So we're just going to click remix so that we can save the project. So you can see that project saved. So it's going to save automatically, or we can save it ourselves. So we have our sprite all brought in. So we're just going to make the backdrop to look kind of like snow. So snow is obviously white, but it's a little bit darker. We're just going to put a bit of a shade on it. So we're going to say we're going to go into paint a backdrop, and we're just going to get rid of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to click fill, and I'm going to pick a kind of a grey colour, just to be able to have that kind of snowy effect. Okay, so it's not white, but it's kind of it's grey enough, so we have kind of a grey background. Okay, so it kind of looks like more like snow, like it's a little bit of a warmer colour. So we're just going to create some lines, and we're just going to draw the line. So you can make them black, or you can make them a little bit on the grayer side if you want. Okay, so I'm going to make it a little bit on the grayer side. Kind of like that. So we'll go to here, we draw a line from here down to the corner, and then from here down to the corner. Now, so we have our little track down here, so that's our ski slope. The next thing that we're going to do then is we're going to go into the cat, or the skiing cat. We're going to go into some code, and we're just going to get it to start off in where we want it to start. Okay, so we want it to start kind of a little bit further up here, but in the middle. So not too far to the left or too far to the right, but in the middle. So we're going to go 0 on the x-axis. We're going to go up maybe about 100 on the y-axis. So you have green flag, motion, go to, and we can put in here x is 0 and y is 100. Okay, so we're going to go 0, so we don't want to go left or right, so we want to say 0, so in the center, and we're going 100 because we want them to move up, and if it was minus 100 we would move down. Okay, so we were going to move them up, and we're going to get them to point in the direction of 90. Okay, so if I press green flag, he'll move to the top of the stage there. Okay, he's pointing 90, meaning that he's standing up. Okay, so I'm just gonna get you to save this now. So I just want us to get into a habit of saving. I was doing this one of the projects from last week, and I never clicked save, and then when I went back to edit the video, I hadn't saved it, so it was all gone. So next thing that we're going to do is we're just going to get them to move left and right. So we're just going to say when left arrow pressed. Okay, so we're going to use left and right arrow. So when left arrow pressed, we are going to point in the direction of 105. Okay, so he's going to angle slightly different. All right, so we have left go 105, and he's going to change x by minus 10. So we want him to go left on the screen. So it's going to be minus 10 because it's minus x. So we're going to go to change x by minus 10. Minus 10. we're going to add that in. So if I press the left arrow, you see that he kind of leans, I suppose, to the right, his right. So that's why it's 105 as opposed to minus 105. And then he goes minus 10, so he moves left. Now you can make him move quicker if you want, and you can change it to minus 20. And if I put that in, start him off again, he moves a lot quicker then. Okay, so when you have the left arrow done, I just want you to do the same for the right arrow. So we're just going to duplicate it and bring it down here. So instead of 105, this time we're going to go to 75. Okay, and then we want them to change by 10. Okay, so we're going to click the right arrow here. I want to change them by 10 because we want it to plus 10 on the x-axis, which means it's going to go this way on the screen. Okay, so if I press green flag, we set him back in the middle. He goes left like we've seen. Now he goes right. Okay, so this is how we're going to move him. So it's left and right. So the next thing that we're going to do then is going to add in some obstacles. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go in. We're going to, I suppose, get what you would get in the snow. So we're going to go tree. So you get this tree. You can make it smaller. So we're going to set the size to... So you can make that tree as big or as small as you want. Probably 50 is probably going to be a good height, right? So what's going to happen is this tree is going to appear randomly across the screen, okay? And it's going to scroll up. And then it's going to disappear eventually, okay? So we're just going to leave it anywhere on the screen now, right? And we're just going to go in and code it. So we're going to say when green flag clicked, so this is going to happen randomly, and it's going to scroll up, and we're not going to control it. So we just want to get it forever blocked in, and bring it and drop it under that, and then we're going to say go to. So we're going to give it a specific place to go to. So we're going to say X 180 and Y 0. No, sorry. 0 180. I got that back to front. X 0 Y 180. Okay, or minus 180. Then what we want to do is we want it to show. Okay, so we're going to ask it to hide at the start, and then it's going to show eventually. But we're just going to say show. We're going to say glide to. So the reason why we're clicking glide is because we want it to put show in the wrong place. We want it to glide up as opposed to doing steps. So our cat steps, and you can see that it's very glitchy and that it moves bit by bit, bit by bit. So we want it just to glide straight up the track, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to say, so y minus 180 is like down here somewhere. Okay, so you can see there that it's minus 184. So we want it to get to plus 180. Okay, so we're going to say plus 180. You don't have to put the plus in, but just a normal 180. We're going to keep x at 0, and we're going to keep it for 1 second. Okay, then we're going to say hide. So if we go in and find hide, and then we want it to wait 1 second, and then it's going to come back again. Okay, so we're going to wait 1 second, and it's going to come back. So if I press green flag, you see that it disappears and it reappears. So now it looks like we're actually going down. So if I move, it looks like we're skiing down. Okay, so that's a really cool element, and it kind of gives you a bit of an understanding as to how the likes of Mario works, how the likes of Flappy Bird works. So you have that kind of scrolling technique down. To be able to change the obstacle that's appearing, all we have to do is click into make sure we're clicked into the obstacle, go to costumes, and we can just add costumes. So we can choose different costumes. So if I put in a rock, for example, so if I put in rocks, I can change it to this. So I can just say then go in and go into next costume and just put it at the start of the code, so forever. So when I press the green flag, I can see that it changes. So it just goes next costume. So it's tree, rock, and you can put whatever costume you want in. You can just add the costumes, and you can add as many as you want. So that's as easy as that's just the easiest thing that we're probably going to do in the game. It's just being able to switch it up. The next thing that we're going to do then is so at the moment our sprite just goes up the center, okay? So it always stays at X randomly, okay? It also always It's always going to go minus 180y to 180y because we want to go from bottom to top. But we want it to kind of to change randomly between kind of minus x and plus x, okay, which I think is about minus, I don't know, 200 and minus and plus 200, I think, and we're going to stay within these lines, I think. So how we're going to do that is we're going to just go in and make a variable first, okay? So we're just going to call it obstacle underscore x, okay? We're going to create it for all sprites, and then the next thing that we're going to do then is we're just going to add some add set obstacle x, okay, and we're going to say pick random from and we'll use the two numbers minus 200 and 200, okay. So it's going to pick between minus 200 and 200, and then we're just going to go in and tell the game to set x to whatever obstacle x is, okay. So if I press green flag, you see it goes there, it changes out to the outside to the rock, so it's changing different directions now. It's going all across the screen now. And again, the aim of the game is to avoid it, okay? Now, you can slow this down and you can say glide by 2 seconds, so it's a little bit slower then. So when I press the green flag, I have a little bit more time to move out of the way of the obstacles, okay? You can speed it up and you can just speed your cat up to make it a little bit harder, so your reaction time is a little bit less. But you have the two options then, okay? So you can change the glide to whatever you want, or you can change the speed of the cat. So you can change the cat to minus 20 and 20, or minus 30 and 30, and that makes the cat move to the left and right a little bit quicker. So you have that. If you're finding it a little bit too difficult, the way I would, because I'm fairly useless at games, you would be able to make it easier for yourself or for whoever is playing then. The next thing that we want to do, I suppose, with the game is to make it crash, to make the cat crash if he touches one of these sprites. So we're just going to go into the cat, and we're going to say we're going to get another when green flag clicked, and we're just going to say wait until, and then we're going to go into sensing and say touching, and put it into the diamond. And we're just going to say wait until touching 3-1 because that's the name of our sprite. I know it's a rock now, but the sprite itself is called 3-1 and the rock is just a costume, okay? If that happens, we want to stop all, okay? So we want to say stop all. The other thing is, so if we play the game and we touch the sprite, you see that everything stops, but he doesn't change costume. So we have actually another costume for the sprite, which is fallen over. So all we have to do, and it's like kind of changing the tree, is we just have to go in to looks and say switch to costume fallen over. So now if I press this and I hit a sprite, I find it hard. This is how bad I am at games. And now I hit and everything stops, I'm fallen, I'm stuck on the rock. And that's nice and simple. However, if I press the green flag, I stick with the fallen over. So I want to then tell the game to switch to costume skiing. So if I press the green flag, switch to costume skiing, I crash, I fall over, and my head gets stuck in a rock like it just did there. Okay? The next thing is you might not want to see this up here, the obstacle X. So if you want to go and just go into variables and you can untick it, it's nice and simple. So scratch tree is simpler than the old scratches in that you had to go in and like double click and delete it. But you can just go into variables and untick the box. So whatever you want to see or whatever you don't want to see is just in variables. You just have to tick that box. The final, the second last bit, I suppose, then is we're just going to add a score. So for every time we pass an obstacle, we're going to gain a score, and this way you can play with your friends, and you can say, you know, before I crashed, I got 10 points. You have to beat my score, and if they get 11 points, you have to beat their score, kind of thing. So, we're just going to go into the I was going to say the rock, but the tree sprite, the obstacle sprite, we'll call it. To make a score, we're just going to make another variable. So we're going to say call it score, and it's going to be for all sprites. So score is in the way. But again, if you don't want to see the score, I mean, I don't know why you'd create a score and not want to see it. But if you want to get rid of the score and not have it competitive and just play, you can. So that's the score up in the corner there. So we're just going to say set score. So set, and we're just going to put it here outside of the forever. So set, and we're going to click on the drop down box and go to score to 0. Okay, so when we press the green flag, it's going to be at 0, the way it is now. Now, what we're going to say is we're going to change this to 0.5, and then we're going to say change score to 1, and we're going to put it here at the end. Okay, so after all this happens, it's going to change score by 1. Okay, so that means if it gets to the top, you're going to change score by 1. So for example, you see that the score changes, and I just have to keep avoiding the obstacles that are coming through, which is easy because there's only 2 obstacles, and we can pick up some scores. Okay, so I just want to put it out here, I suppose, at this stage of the game, before we go into the last piece, just that we can add, I suppose this is the last bit effectively, but we're going to go into and look at adding another kind of sprite for another obstacle, so that we have kind of 2 different ones happening at the same time, so that it's harder then to be able to come in, to be able to dodge the sprites. But then you could also add, similar to the kind of the game last week where we were popping the balloons, we can add sprites to that if we hit them. So for example, if he hits an apple, he gains extra points, so he gains an extra few points. You could also put a timer, and you could add a timer to the backdrop and start the timer at 30 seconds, so that each player only has 30 seconds to gain a certain amount of scores, or if they crash, so on. So you can add a few variables to this, but we're just going to go in. So if you want to add more obstacles, all you have to do is, 1, you can duplicate this, and you have the sprite in the exact same, with the exact same code. So you can just do this. If you wanted to change it then, you could just get rid of some costumes. Okay, so you could get rid of some costumes, keep the rock for example, and you could go in and add some more obstacles. So I could add a piece of bread, right? So we'll go in and add the piece of bread. So if I collect the piece of bread then, you could say plus a score, okay? But you'd have to code it to say that if costume equals bread, change score by 1, etc. So now if I press the green flag, we have loads of different obstacles now, okay? So they happen at the same time. So you might want to change this time, so the wait 0.5 seconds to 1 in one of them, okay? And then in the other one, it's 0.5 seconds. So you have a slight delay then in how they come out. So you see that the 2 rocks had a slight delay. So at the start, they might come out together, the way these 2 have. So you might just say, wait 1 second in one of them, and wait 0.5 seconds in one of them. And likewise, if you don't want them to come out at the start again, you can just put another wait. So you can put wait 1 second, and so that it's kind of delayed. Okay. So there's loads of different things that you can do with this. You can add things in to give you health, to give you extra points. You can give health, you can give lives, and it's just basically setting the variables. Go into the cat, set lives to 3. Every time you crash, it minuses the lives by 1. And then if lives equals to 0, we've done this in past games. If life equals to 0, it stops all again. Okay, so it's a nice and simple game to be able to play. I am very, very bad at this game because my reaction speed is quite bad. But you can see that the score is working. I'm just avoiding it. I can make the sprites quicker. I can make them slower. I can make my cat quicker. I can make them slower. So we've learned a lot of good things, and I think particularly today's one with the gliding. So it makes us look like we're going down the ski, but we're actually not. It's actually the sprites that are moving, which is you would find what most games kind of do and look like. Um, so I hope you enjoyed today's game. Next week we're going to do another kind of fun game like this, and the way we have been doing over the last few weeks, as opposed to just a project. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you this time next week.